We're good to go. All right, man. I'm glad to have you on. I've been a fan of not only you but all of InfoWars for like, I don't know, I'd say like 2 to 3 years. Just a little background. I first learned about InfoWars back in 2016, which is kind of crazy because it had nothing to do with politics. It had to do with like the death of Prince. And I was living in Minneapolis where he was at, and one of my buddies, he's like a huge fan of Alex Jones and InfoWars. He was telling me about the Bohemian Grove and all this stuff and the Illuminati, just a bunch of stuff. He's like, you need to look into some of these things. Like, Prince was taken out. And I'm like, what? This is the first time I'm ever hearing any of this stuff. So I go down this rabbit hole of research on YouTube. Coincidentally, I don't have any cable at that time. So all I have for entertainment in my house is YouTube. And I discovered the alternative media universe, right? So I find Alex Jones and I see Alex Jones at the Bohemian Grove and like cremation of care and all this stuff. And next thing I know, I'm like a fan of InfoWars. And then I discover you. And like, I've watched so many of your man on the street videos and you just do brilliant work. And then luckily yesterday, at the Trump rally, I was there in Orlando and I got to meet Millie and Caitlin. And those ladies both do awesome work. So it's just a great pleasure to be on InfoWars, have you on the channel, and welcome.
Well, and don't forget the cameo you made on Fox News, getting interviewed by, I think, what's the gentleman's name? Jones, I think is his name.
Lawrence Jones, yeah.
Lawrence Jones, yeah. So that was really cool because I remember I was watching. I couldn't even believe it because we had this whole interview scheduled, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, wait a second, that's Magnificent, the guy I'm going to be on his YouTube channel tomorrow. And I was like, nah, there's no way. And then I saw you had the same hat on right now, and I was like, that was him. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's wild. It's funny that story you just told about finding Alex though, because it's that story is one of the main reasons why they have banned InfoWars, is because they don't want people like you that are just searching for some other random thing, not necessarily political, to find InfoWars and to find alternative media. It was kind of the same thing for me. I would always discount the conspiracy theories and ignore them until I did go down the rabbit hole, because if there was one thing that I was looking into that got my attention, it happened to be the Boston Marathon bombing that sent me down that rabbit hole. So they don't want people to know about alternative media. That's why they're getting us all off of YouTube right now. And they don't want people to have that same experience, that red pill, that rabbit hole. So really your story is what they've measured and said, wow, we can't have a repeat process of that in 2020 and beyond.
Yeah, absolutely. Because what happens is when someone takes that red pill and they wake up, then they become the next YouTuber, right? Like without me discovering the red pill and discovering InfoWars and all the other alternative media out there, I may not be where I am right now, where I'm going to the Trump rally and then I'm on Fox News and I drop that truth bomb. So it's actually like it creates a domino effect. When one domino falls, all the rest of them fall. And yeah, you're absolutely right. They have totally lost grip of the narrative. They can't stand it. They're ripping their hairs out, especially when someone who's a person of color goes against the liberal orthodoxy. And that's exactly what I do. And I do it in such an articulate way. And it's driving them crazy.
Well, that's the cool thing about it is kind of a chain reaction effect. Alex Jones inspires me. I pivot from sports media to political media, do a bunch of man on the streets videos that kind of create a whole new realm of entertainment. Well, now I'm banned on YouTube, but guess what? It's okay, because now you have Fleckus Talks out there. Now you have Elijah Schaefer out there. Now you have Caitlin Bennett out there. Now you have Magnificent out there. So yeah, they can take down one ship on their platforms, but like you said, 4 more ships just sprouted up. So maybe in the future they take down Magnificent, but guess what? There's going to be 4 individuals that Magnificent inspired, and they're going to create YouTube channels. So I was discussing this on the War Room today. I really wonder when they're going to reach a threshold of deciding. I mean, what are they going to do? Ban 25% of the population from their platform because of politics? I mean, isn't that too obvious if it isn't already? So it is kind of an interesting thing to witness and be a part of, and just to see the culture shift and change, and to see the establishment and these big tech companies try to stop it.
Yeah. And it's very interesting, because at first it looked to me like they were just trying to ban conservatives, but they're actually cracking down on any kind of independent content creator. It doesn't matter if you had your own cooking show. If you were to take views and money away from the cooking network, the Food Network, and you were effective at it, they would eventually pressure YouTube to ban you, to demonetize you, because you're taking away ad revenue, you're taking away views. And, you know, the same thing goes with sports or anything else. Truthers, anti vaxxers, people who question the official narrative of 9/11. It really doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican. It's if you're an independent content creator. And it just really does prove that it's an establishment against a populist movement. And that's why I think Trump has such a strong following, because Trump gets the social media aspect. That's why they want to crack down. That's why you have these cringy Beto O'Rourke. I'm getting my teeth clean. Look, I'm a human just like you. Vote for me. Or Elizabeth Warren. Look, I'm drinking beer. Look, I'm just like you. You know, AOC. They're trying to like, oh, this is where the momentum is right now. It's on social media. So we need to be on social media. We need to take the narrative, and we need to ban all these independent people. And it's a way for them to, I think, I kind of talked about this about a month ago. I think it was right after the Steven Crowder thing. I said, you know what? What they're trying to do is they want to destabilize people's financial well-being. If you are financially independent on your own via YouTube or subscribe or wherever it is, if they can ban you, then they're disrupting that, and then it gets you off of your square. Because otherwise, if you were financially independent, what are the odds you're going to support some of the insane policies being pushed by the left right now? You wouldn't. So they don't need that,
Well,
right?
that's a good point too. But just to talk about the censorship, I mean, it's like, why was YouTube even created, right? I mean, YouTube was created for content creators to be able to go on there, and YouTube, under their parent company Alphabet, has made tons and tons of money, and so that was the whole purpose. I mean, I remember when I started my YouTube channel, man. I mean, I don't even know how long ago it was. I had 3 or 4 channels, and I was doing a bunch of different stuff, and I was really focusing on politics on one. I used to do sports on another. I used to do comedy on another, but they just erased all of them. But I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, because I remember when I first started, I wasn't really into Twitter because I didn't really like the whole immediate gratification news feed type of social media. I wasn't really into Facebook. I didn't like the whole share all your photos and your meals and everything. But I really liked YouTube because it was specific for the content that you wanted. You just go onto YouTube, find the content you want, find the videos, and you're good to go. I just go live on a video. So the whole purpose of YouTube was to get independent creators out there, to empower independent creators out there. And the fact that they're kind of reversing that tide, I think it really shows you how they have become. I mean, they always say ultimate power corrupts ultimately. So maybe that's what this really is. They just got so big, same with Facebook and Twitter. They just got so big, so powerful, that they got corrupted. And so now they're trying to wield that power for their political agenda. And it's obvious to anybody who's looking at it. But to those who are unaware of it, they don't see it yet. But it's funny you talk about Beto O'Rourke and tooth surgery. I actually had some oral surgery today, and it's funny. I actually I kind of want to goon them by doing this stuff, and I haven't done it yet. But I kind of wanted to be sitting in while I have some stitches that I had to have removed in my mouth. I had a tooth extraction, and I kind of thought about filming it, like pretending I'm Beto, like, hey, like, oh, I'm having a tooth extraction. Like, here I am at the dentist. And I'm sure the oral surgeon would have been like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, that would be the perfect troll. It's funny to see how, you've heard the term like the left can't meme. They can't do that. So like that's why another reason why again Trump is so effective with Game of Thrones memes and stuff. We control them and make fun of them in a way that just drives them nuts. You see I don't know if you've seen Mini AOC yet or Mini Ilhan Omar. That's brilliant. That's a
Wait,
brilliant.
mini Omar?
Yeah, there's a Mini Ilhan Omar on
Oh, I gotta find that.
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
actually watching, dude. I was watching some mini AOC. I can't remember if it was last night or this morning, and I was just watching it, and I realized like there is no way she is not going to get banned anytime soon, because I realized something with Hollywood has always used children for their entertainment, right? I mean, let's talk
Yep.
about some great movies growing up. How many of them involved really young child actors like Home Alone? I mean, the list goes on. And so I realized something, because once you go down the rabbit hole, you realize that control over the children in Hollywood is a little more satanic than we realize. You look at Corey Feldman, but I've realized that what they're going to have to do in response to mini AOC is, once parents or even young kids that are, I guess, smart enough and bright enough and have that talent and potential at such a young age, once they realize that, that takes so much power away from Hollywood, because children in the entertainment venue have a lot of value. They're cute, they're funny, they're innocent, and it's always been something that Hollywood has learned. And so they've built big movies off of that, big movie trilogies off that. And I realized watching Mini OC, I was like, wow, this girl is so good. I mean, she really is talented. She's hilarious. I'm sure her parents are helping her. Of course they are. But I realized, like, what happens if conservative parents activate their children in this culture war, in this information war? Because we're already seeing the left do it. And what does the left do? They dress their kids in drag. They tell their kids they're the opposite gender. They tell their kids to be gay. They take them to the gay pride parade. It's all this weird sexualization that they're using their kids as pawns for. But if conservatives, and I kind of see this coming, like now there's Mini Omar, if conservative parents and their children start creating content based off their children's talents. Look at the one girl that just got banned, Soph, I think was her name.
Yeah, Soph.
I think that Hollywood realizes that they have a monopoly on using children for entertainment. And if they start to see that threatened with conservative parents and conservative young kids putting out content that's really entertaining, riveting, on point, on message, and starts getting popular, I think that I don't see them lasting much longer, because that's a big monopoly they have, and they don't want actual parents to be controlling their kids, because everybody knows once the kid goes to Hollywood, the parents are out of the picture. I mean, they do everything to keep the parents out of the picture. They tell them, oh, the producers and the directors and everybody, the actors, they'll take care of them. Yeah, they'll take care of them. Well, imagine if you had actual children that weren't being taken advantage of, that didn't leave their house, but were still doing entertainment and videos and stuff. I think that's a big threat that Hollywood maybe hasn't realized yet. But I was watching Mini OC and I was like, wow, this girl is really talented. She has a bright future. Hollywood can't stand that. They want total control over young talent. And if conservatives start putting their kids out there that have talent like this, that start getting popular, I think there's going to be a major backlash from Hollywood.
Yeah, I think so too. And it's great that we have examples of really talented kids that are, articulate, conservative, and they're still under the umbrella of their parents. Like, Soph is a great example, being a little bit older probably than AOC and Mini AOC and Ilhan Omar. It's just great parodies. We're drawing to light just how insane the left is. Like, could there be a Mini AOC and a Mini Ilhan Omar if there weren't a real insanely stupid AOC and Ilhan Omar? Like, these women are, it's like painfully stupid. I can't believe, what is it? Yeah, there she is right there.
That's amazing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just followed her.
Yeah,
Thank you for telling me about that. This is hilarious. Look at this.
Yeah, it's perfect. It is perfect. But they couldn't exist without the actual people to make fun of, right? Like, look at these women that were elected to Congress or selected to Congress, right? That's a whole nother story. But the fact is, AOC is passionately stupid. Like, can you believe the things that come out of this woman's mouth? And it's like, she's a millennial. She's young. She gets the internet. She gets social media. And yet she's just vomiting. It's diarrhea of the mouth. Every time she opens her mouth, something stupid flies out of it. The most recent is comparing ICE facilities to concentration camps. I mean, can you even get any more? It's like every time you think they're going to hit a new low, they just go even lower. What do you think about that? Her latest gaffe is just incredible.
Well, I'm in my living room / kitchen here at home. So my energy at my home base is a little more sedated than when I'm on air. But when I was covering this in the War Room, man, my energy there is a little more intense, as you can imagine, when I'm at InfoWars Studios. And I straight up, I'm ticked. I'm pissed. I can't even believe the stuff that she says, and the fact that she doubles and triples down. I mean, these are the people that talk about insensitivity. They make some of the most insensitive comments I've ever heard in my life. But with AOC, it's beyond insensitive. It's straight up flamboyantly ignorant, comparing concentration camps to what's happening at the southern border, comparing what's happening at the southern border to what happened to Japanese people during World War II. She clearly has no historical references. She clearly, maybe she can't read, because I don't know how you could be so ignorant to not understand the difference between, I mean, like that's what I'm saying. Like me and you, like we shouldn't even have to discuss it. It's like people travel thousands of miles to come to the United States because they get free meals, free doctor visits, free transportation, free roof over their heads. I mean, like the people that went into the concentration camps got yanked out of their home, separated from their families, and put into a gas chamber. And we have congresswomen making the comparison there. It's beyond sick to me. It really, they belong in an insane asylum. That's not even, I'm dead serious. I mean, these people belong in a mental facility if they're going to continue to push this propaganda. Or here's the difference. If it's ignorance, they probably need to read a book. If it's blatant, intentional ignorance and you're trying to gaslight, they belong in an insane asylum. And if it's propaganda, maybe they belong in jail. Because if you're intentionally spreading this propaganda for whatever the reason is, I don't even understand the reason why AOC would do this unless she wants open borders. Now we're talking about treason. But you're not allowed, you're not allowed. No media can be critical of AOC, and she's just like some protected class. It's ridiculous, man. I mean, honestly, like I'm no totalitarian, I'm no tyrant, but man, it's like people like AOC really want me to become a tyrant so I can just lock them up.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's what they do, is they cloak themselves in this victimhood, right? That's what the left is. It is so sick and weird. They are weirdly obsessed with identity. It's like who you sleep with, your color, your gender is central to who you are. And I fundamentally disagree with that, which is why I'm so opposed to the left. And they are just full of double standards, which is what I really wanted to talk about. If I had even 30 seconds more to talk on Fox News, I would have called that out. Because of the Trump rally yesterday, I made it a point to go over to that anti-Trump rally because I wanted to see that Trump blimp in person. Like, wow, this is actually a thing.
They
Wow.
patched it up. They patched it up and took it to Orlando.
Yeah, what they did was they had a GoFundMe. They raised I think it was like $8,000 or something to buy this Trump baby blimp so that they can inflate it. And the name of the event was called Lead with Love. And I thought, that's interesting. I'm willing to bet there are at least 10 protesters with signs that have something hateful on them. Sure enough, that's exactly what they had. So I'm like, so you're leading with love by hating the president. And I'm willing to bet that if you are truly leading with love, the first people that you would lead to love would be Trump supporters, right? So, yesterday I walk over there. Millie and I get over there. As soon as we get there, they're barricaded off. They've got police. They got squad cars. It looks like there's a riot that's about to happen. And clearly, we're not there to start a riot. We're there to have conversations, change some minds, see if we can find some common ground, and also expose some bigotry and intolerance, because that's what
film the insanity.
Yeah, film the insanity. Right? The MAGA-phobia, they see this and it draws this negative, almost like demon-like energy out into the public eye for everyone to see. And we need to capture that on film and show it to everyone who thinks the left is so woke and tolerant and progressive and we love everybody, except if you're a black conservative, then your black life doesn't matter so much. That's what they do over there, because they're all about identity politics, which is just divisive at its core. And yet the ongoing narrative through the gaslighting and the propaganda, the mainstream media, is that Trump is the big divisive figure in America. And yet patriotism has no color, it has no gender, it has no sexual orientation, which is why it's so attractive for minorities now, minorities like myself anyway, that don't want to be divided. Like, I don't see myself as inferior for being black. I'm an American citizen, able-bodied, smart, intelligent, divine, God created. I can do whatever I want in this world. Nobody can stop me, right? And so I naturally will gravitate to something that I feel like I can connect with anybody. I feel like ideological alignment is more important than, hey, that person looks like me, or they like the same kind of people I like, or whatever. So I guess that's my tribe. It's the tribalism of the left. And I think it just kind of breeds this negative energy, but it's all in response to Trump, right?
Well, I think that Trump is just kind of the main focal point now, because the Trump movement's gone so viral. And, that's why they're trying to censor all these Trump supporters, because like you said, I mean, you expose the double standard in a video with the actual real content of these Trump protesters versus Trump supporters, it goes viral. I mean, it's impossible for it not to. So they try to algorithm it out. But, when you talk about what the left does specifically to black people more than anything, or it's just maybe from my experience, I've seen it. Growing up in St. Louis, I spent a few years working in youth development in the inner cities. And so, I mean, there's what the left has done to black young students is literally brainwash them into thinking they have no shot at life. They have no chance of success. They're always going to be a failure unless they somehow bring down the white man or whatever it is, whatever it is that they're told is holding them back. And I've seen this and I've heard them say it. And it's heartbreaking because nobody wants them to not succeed. People want them to succeed. People want everybody to succeed. And it really breaks my heart because I don't know, maybe the left does it intentionally. I mean, obviously Hillary Clinton and the elite love to see black people kept down. You can see that in their WikiLeaks. But to the just average leftist, like, for example, today they had the reparations for slavery meeting on Congress, and Danny Glover and some other famous black people were speaking. And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, don't you see what you're doing to young black Americans? You're telling them unless they get slave reparations, they can't make it. Man, that's the most racist thing I've ever seen. Nobody's denying slavery happened. Nobody's denying that perhaps a kid growing up in the inner city that's black is going to have it harder than a kid that grows up in the suburbs that's white. But you know what? In America, they can still make it. And guess what? If they work harder, they'll surpass whatever other kid that they were told they couldn't surpass. And so when you see it in the youth, it really breaks your heart because there's nothing you can say to get them to understand how they've been tricked and deceived into throwing their future away in the name of liberal politics. And so I just wish they would stop destroying the youth's belief in themselves. That's really what it is. They're destroying the youth's belief in themselves by telling them they can't make it because there's someone trying to hold them back.
Yeah, there's absolutely no hope in that message. It's like doom and gloom constantly. Like, oh, you're black, it sucks. And it's like the biggest trick ever played on humanity. I'll talk about China in a second because it happens over there. Black Americans have been under the boot of big government since 1619. Slavery was a government program, as is welfare, and we've always been connected to the government. And so reparations is just the new carrot to dangle in front of our faces for the black vote, the sacred black vote that they need for 2020. That's all it is. It's just a talking point. It's just a way to try to.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. And I think that's why Kanye West is really a Trump supporter for many reasons. But I think just in general, to me, I mean, I would imagine if you're a black Democrat like Candace Owens was or whatever, I would imagine the most liberating feeling would be leaving the Democrat Party because they're the ones that are trying to control people. They're the ones that are telling you how to think. And as soon as you say, I don't think that, and then they're like, no, come back. No, think like this. That's when you're like, whoa, you really were trying to control me. I would imagine it's liberating for people of color or minorities in this country to say, you know what? I don't like the left's politics. I don't want to be a Democrat. And then to see them desperately try to put you back in control, into their control, I would imagine that's a freeing feeling. I mean, for me, it was freeing just to realize that, yeah, there really is fake news out there that you can combat. There really is a chance for you to change the world. To me, that was liberating just to realize, oh, wait a second, there is an opportunity to change the world. The world isn't what it says it is at face value. So I just hope I think other people are seeing it. It's just a matter of big tech trying to squander it right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're right. It's so liberating because I never identified as a Democrat, but I still voted Democrat. Like I voted for Obama. But I never considered myself a Democrat, but I did buy into that false doctrine of victimhood. And it gave me a bad feeling. But once I started to hear conservatives, black or white or whatever color, once I started to hear the conservative message, I found it to be uplifting and empowering. And I'm like, this message sounds good to me. I like the vibration of this message. I feel better as opposed to, oh, you're living under the tyranny of white supremacy. It's almost like they superimpose it over our reality so that that's all that we see. They treat racism like it's Wi-Fi. You can't see it, but it's everywhere. It's all around you. No matter where you are, you're going to run into white supremacy or white power, white privilege or something like that. And I'm like, it seems a little extreme. They took it a little too far once Trump was elected. And they made it sound like, he's going to dial back civil rights. You realize that, right? Like blacks should be fearful. Well, a couple months go by, I'm like, nothing's changed. Actually, things are getting better. So I became more conservative over time. And it's like once you see the light, there's no way you can go back. And not only can you not go back, you got to lead others out of it. And it makes it that much easier to see what they're doing. It's like the way that they brainwash us with the media, with controlling the narrative, is they can convince us that another reality exists that we don't see in our daily lives. It's like what you see on TV is what you need to put all of your belief into. And when you get that, this is what you see right now. This is why you see leftists marching in the streets, mindlessly chanting the same 4 or 5 slogans they heard their favorite politicians say, and then they can essentially demand the chains of their own enslavement. They become like pawns, minions, just doing the bidding of the elites. And the reason why I mentioned China is because China has done that so effectively. I know you know about China's totalitarian system. They're actually blocking media from Hong Kong right now because, as you know, Hong Kong is free. And they had, 2 million strong protesting the extradition laws.
Amazing videos.
Why is China blocking that? Why? Because they know that they will lose control of the narrative. The people of China, mainland China, they either don't know that they're enslaved or they demand the change of their enslaved. They're subservient. They're okay with it. They love it because they don't know what true freedom is. Where the people of Hong Kong absolutely know what it is. And that's why they're able to march in the street 2 million strong. I hope if there was ever a place in the world we could learn from, if it's not the yellow vests in France or the people of Venezuela, it should be the people of Hong Kong who are actually free, but they know what tyranny looks like because it's at their back door.
Well, I think we even being aware of it still fall victim to media's control, because I think we are having that revolution right now. The media is just not allowing us to. They're lying about Trump in the polls. They're lying about Trump's support. I think the support for Trump is tenfold what they'll admit it is. And I think we're having this revolution right now. They're just not letting us have the optics of it, and the media is not letting us have it. But I really think it's happening. But here's an example. You were at the Orlando Trump rally last night. I
Yes.
imagine you had a great time.
Oh man, euphoria. It was great.
So, but if you're listening to CNN, let's say just an innocent person just doesn't really follow politics, is listening to CNN or MSNBC or ABC News or whatever, reading the Washington Post, they would believe that a Trump rally is basically a KKK rally or like a Hitler event or something from Nazi Germany. That's how they portray it. So imagine somebody unassuming, uninformed on the issue views that, and yeah, that's shocking. That's like, oh my gosh. But then imagine if they actually went to the event. That just shows you how the media, specifically the leftist media, that just corporate run, probably CIA operatives all over it, it just shows how they just totally distort reality. And it's a total attack on reality. It's a total attack on freedom, quite frankly. And I don't know what the answer is, because they're already losing their ratings, but they still exist. They still have a little control over the narrative.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're circling the drain. I fully expect at least 1 or 2 of these companies to go belly up. You see BuzzFeed struggling, Vice News, a lot of these digital media platforms, they're struggling over there. More and more people are seeking out the truth. I'd like to say that truth is a value. You have to value the truth. You could watch it on TV and say, is that really what's happening? Or should I find out for myself? Like for me, I've now been to 3 Trump rallies. The very first Trump rally I went to, I'll admit, I was nervous. I didn't know what to expect, but I had a MAGA hat. I'm like, okay, let me look the part. I want to fit in, but I didn't know what to expect because all I'd heard was there's a lot of white supremacists, neo-Nazis, and KKK members. I went to that Trump rally. People complimented my hat, even though they had on the exact same hat. They said, hey, brother, patriot. They weren't looking at me funny. It felt like any other experience in my life. In fact, it was uplifting because people were inviting. I was like, this is crazy, because all I ever saw on TV was the 1 or 2, 3 fringe people, which who knows if they were paid actors or not. Anyone could put on a Trump hat and act like an idiot. They would show that and magnify it and use it as a strongman to smear everyone who supports the president. And I just felt so mad. It's like the truth sets you free, but first it'll piss you off. And so now I can counter that narrative, and it's, you said it first, gaslighting. That is what they're doing. That's how they can convince people that Biden is somehow leading in the polls when he can't even fill a freaking high school gymnasium. It's like, hey, look at Biden's packed audience. It's like, yeah, they're crammed into a Waffle House and he's standing on the bar preaching to them. Trump is filling arenas. Trump could fill a soccer stadium. You give Trump the space, he can fill it. You mean to tell me if that stadium in Orlando couldn't fit 40,000 people instead of 20, he wouldn't have had 20,000 more people there? And yet Biden's leading in the polls. I'm like, all people need to do is use the optics test, use the eye test. Who is supporting Trump and who's supporting Biden? You're talking people camping out a day early, going through the heat and the humidity and rain and lightning, all the threats and elements of Central Florida weather in the summer to see the president. People drove across different state lines to get here. Someone flew over from Japan. Is there any kind of enthusiasm that you've seen? Maybe you've seen it. I haven't seen it. Is there any enthusiasm for any candidate on the left whatsoever? Is anyone out there excited for Joe Biden to be president?
The only enthusiasm, and it's not towards any one political candidate, unless it's Donald Trump, really, the only enthusiasm they have is hate Trump. That's all their energy. That's all their enthusiasm. So, I mean, who knows? The Democrats will select whoever it is they want to be. Right now, it looks like Biden. I could see a bait and switch happening. But the simple answer is no. There is no one close. I mean, I would say without all the security risks and everything, I would say Trump could fill a football stadium easily. He could have been hosted at, the Miami Dolphins Stadium, which probably holds 70,000 people. He probably could have filled it up if he wanted to. But there's security concerns and everything. So I know that they don't go for that. I know that Trump wants that, but I know that they don't go for that for security reasons. Maybe he'll do one or two that way. But that's another thing, too, is that is the one power the media has, is it takes away it's a weird thing, but it literally takes away people's reality where they can see the world. I mean, you still have eyes. You can still see the world. But if the television media tells you something differently, somehow that trumps your own reality. And we see that in real time. I mean, people actually think Biden and Sanders and Warren and ButchJudge are beating Trump in a poll in Florida. I mean, that's the most absurd thing I think I've ever heard in my life.
It's crazy. Yeah, I was just looking at it. I actually watched CNN through the perspective of a loyal viewer, right? Like if I were loyal to CNN and they're saying, hey, look, here's head to head, Kamala Harris and Beto O'Rourke are, it's within margin of error for them to beat Trump in the state of Florida. Biden and Bernie would beat him handedly. That's what they said. This was their words, handedly beat him. It's a way for them also to think, they must think that conservatives or Trump supporters are watching this like, oh no, it's over. Trump can't win, despite the fact that people are lining up around the block to see this man. And there's just no enthusiasm. But it's absolutely, you're right. They are voting against Trump. 2020 is all about voting against Trump, not putting who they think would be the best candidate in. They're all focused on Trump. But that just tells you Trump's going to win. Because I believe in the law of attraction. What you focus on expands. What you think about, you're going to get more of. In this case, they're going to get 4 more years of Trump because they're going to vote blue no matter who. I don't care if it's Kermit the Frog, Frosty the Snowman. If they put a D on a box of cereal and say this box of cereal is running against Trump, they're like, I'm voting for it. They don't care because they hate that guy so much. And it doesn't matter who it is. It's like we're just trying to get through all these debates, get the number down to one candidate.
But think about what you just said there. Think about what you just said there. They hate Trump so much. They think they hate Trump so much, but if you ask them why, they couldn't tell you. Seriously, I mean, it's an incredible thing. I mean, the brainwashing ability of the media is really incredible. Now, obviously, not everybody is susceptible to it. I don't know if you watch Futurama, but it's like this old episode of Futurama where the brain slugs have attached to everyone's brain and they brainwashed everybody except the guy that time traveled from the 21st century who's, too dumb or whatever. And so he's able to operate under the mind control. It's like, so their mind control works on some people, but I'm sure you've seen it. You say, oh, why do you hate Trump? He's racist and he's a bigot. He hates immigrants. And you're just like, wait a second. Those aren't your thoughts. You heard someone else say that. You don't have any evidence of that.
Right. It's so crazy. You think about when you're a millennial like myself, they've been telling us this stuff. They've been hiding the truth in plain sight our entire lives. They're telling you without telling you what they do, how they control you. You just mentioned Futurama. How many cartoons and movies have they been telling the truth in plain sight, especially Disney? Where they're telling kids like mind control this and the sexualizing and all of that. Disney with the three sixes in the Disney logo. They've been doing this forever. But the thing is, some of us have either broken free or it never worked on us, and others it has. Everything down to language and the words they use and how they can use fear. You think about Pavlov with the dog experiment and how they can use that as a response, the trigger this, they use it as stimulus, like a buzzword, racism. Oh, that's going to get the blacks upset and angry, and the timing, everything ties together to control the masses. And the rabbit hole goes so deep. Like I said, since 2016, I've been following InfoWars and other, alternative media sites, and then just thinking for myself, taking in information and coming to my own conclusions. And I agree with most of what I've heard, and there's still a lot to uncover. But it's also getting the truth out. The more people that I can just plant that seed. I've done it with family members. They're not all warmed up to Trump. They're not gung-ho about Trump, but they're against the left. They're like, I'm not down with late-term abortions and infanticide and drag queen story hour. I can at least get people to agree on that. I'm like, okay, so now look at everything else, like open borders, socialism. Trump was the best thing that ever happened to this country because it lifted the veil on the left, and we see exactly who they are, what they want to do. They're taking the extreme opposite position of this president, no matter what it is. And they've got minions. They've got the masses in the street. But I guess we'll just see how it plays out in the election.
Well, I mean, I don't see anything that can defeat Trump other than just the biggest election fraud, voter fraud in the history of this country, perhaps. But I am a little worried, though. I mean, look at how they behaved after 2016. Imagine what they'll do if Trump is reelected in 2020 after they've been told for 6 years now he's a Nazi, he's the grand dragon of the KKK, he hates immigrants, he hates women. The people that believe that, imagine their response after 2020. So, I mean, we thought they were crazy in 2016. I think it's just going to get worse.
Well, I guess I'm not sure on that, because here's the thing. They, on the most subconscious level, they have to know that their front runner is a dud. He has the enthusiasm of a grapefruit. He's boring. He's plain. He's offering nothing new. He's status quo Joe. That's what I call him. All the other ones, Bernie's got the real energy. We know Bernie would be the true front runner in a fair fight on the left. But they have to see, like, okay, well, the economy is going good. Trump's already president. What? It's not like it's not going to be the same shock as it was when he beat Hillary against all odds, because he's already in office. I feel like they have to see it as, well, I mean, he's there already. There's still going to be some idiots, but it won't be like protests in the streets, like people marching through the city. Because with the Mueller report, for example, that was a huge ball drop for them. Everyone put so much stock into Robert Mueller. Like, they had candles and T-shirts and Twitter handles dedicated to one man. They worshipped at the holy shrine of Mueller, and he served up a nothing burger. So now they're like, why would I believe anything I'm hearing? There's more people who are like that. And I think that is the big base of the left. It's the radical fringe that has the megaphone shouting through it with all this other stuff. And they're the ones that are going to freak out and melt down when Trump gets reelected. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as 2016. At least that's what I'm hoping. But it could be that it's worse. At least then they'll be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, okay, well, it's his last term. He's crazy, but our economy's fine, and puppies didn't explode like they told us it would. And, it's just kind of like that. But one thing is open borders. That is, I feel like, the hugest existential threat right now to our democracy. Luckily, Florida, Ron DeSantis is killing it as governor. He just banned sanctuary cities. He's investing $1.5 million into cybersecurity for 2020. And he also, he's rooting out all those, like, I don't know, corrupt people from those two counties, Broward and Palm Beach County, the election fraud. Remember Brenda Snipes from the midterms? They're gone. They're ousted. The other counties in Florida, largest swing state, they got the elections right. So I think if, we won't have a repeat of 2000, Remember that Bush Gore thing? We won't have that. But if there's a lot of illegals flooding in, and those are just Democrat voters, we have to get immigration on lock because there's going to be election fraud big time. That's the only way I can see them winning.
Well, and I saw Trump made the statement that he is going to deport millions of illegal immigrants. But I don't know. I mean, at first I was really excited. I was like, yeah, it's about time. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that that's not the solution. The solution is stopping more from coming in. Maybe you can start to deport people with whatever data you have, but the real solution is to stop them from coming first. So you can deport as many as you want, but if they keep coming in, it's kind of a fool's errand. So I don't even know if he'll be able to deport millions. That's what he claims. But I'd rather just see him shut down the border because, like you, I'm afraid of what this does to our economy. I'm afraid of what this will do to our voting structure. And now they're getting driver's license. They get free meals when they get here. So, yeah, we want to be humanitarians. Yeah, we want to take people in, but we also have to be, have a survival instinct. We also have to be able to, protect ourselves because there won't be any America if we have an open border. There won't be any America, and that's what the left wants. They're being obvious about it. They want wide open borders, and if you don't want wide open borders, you're a racist.
Yeah, man. Well, this has been a great discussion, man. I feel like we could talk for hours, but I know you're a busy man. You got stuff to do. I saw on your Twitter that you're on Subscribestar now. Go ahead and tell the people a little bit about that so they can find you elsewhere, and we'll wrap up.
Yes, so I started a Subscribestar because I've been banned off of YouTube and Facebook, and I have a feeling my Twitter account is maybe on its last legs here. I hope not, but that's the feeling I get. All my live streams get sabotaged there. Of course, I hosted InfoWars too, but that's under attack. So I started the Subscribestar. I'm in contact with the people that run it. They're not going to ban me. But here's what I will say, because I don't like people. I don't like asking for money without any deliverance. So if you subscribe to my Subscribestar, you will get exclusive content that you will not find anywhere else. And I plan on taking this in a lot of different variations and directions over time. But in the short term, I've had a political comedy routine that I've been thinking about doing for a long time. And so now feels like the perfect time to do this. So you'll get exclusive audio only, commercial free of the War Room that I host every day if you subscribe. And you'll get the political comedy that I'm about to launch there as well on my Subscribestar. And then I plan on branching out, doing a bunch of other stuff. And this is an opportunity also for people to get access to me personally, because I know that that's hard to do now that I have a lot more fans than I used to a couple years ago when it was a lot easier to get a response from me. So I'm excited about it. It's a challenge. It's a new journey. And I'm definitely going to make it worth people's while. I don't want people to just subscribe and feel like they're paying a tithe because I'm a journalist under attack. I want them to get something unique and different out of it. So I will be offering that. But it's subscribestar.com/Owen-Shroyer. I appreciate you allowing me to plug that here. And I appreciate you having me on. I know that, you take a risk when you put an InfoWars host on your show. So you're a brave man.
Oh, man, I'm already shadow banned. It's all good. And I know that you would return the favor. If anything ever happens to my YouTube, you have a massive platform. I can always come on and chat with either you, Lefto the Clown, whoever's on there. I can do that.
Good old Lefto.
Good old Lefto, man.
Well, we'll definitely get you on the War Room. Hopefully not because you get banned or something.
Right.
But the last time you came on, I was off air that day. So we'll get you back on.
Okay, sounds good, man. All right.
All right.
Catch you later,
Thank you,
man.
man.